Whoops. That's what I'm talking about. And after a long hiatus, we are back.
Let's go.
Wektiang Flöza, Kyo God Yippin.
On that name! Put some respect 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 on that name!
From the academy grind to the final call, a thrill ride through the rise and the fall. This ain't your 6 o'clock news, this ain't a fantasy. This is the side of the badge the media don't want you to see. Law enforcement's favorite unk, the one they all salute. Coach Clee, the coldest detective to ever do it. With Sergeant B Safe dropping meaningful truth. They're bringing stories from the streets for the vets and the youth. You're locked into the podumentary Black and Blue. Real talk, real stories, the untold side, Black and Blue. What you thought you knew, get ready to see it through. Coach Clee. Coach Clee.
Black and Blue. The podumentary we discussed physical fitness, recruitment, operational security and social pressures, public trust, and more.
Body cam activated.
Recording.
Back on stage. Let me get it full screen. Yes, back on stage. We are here again. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a long time. I haven't seen you guys, and it seems like forever. I know the last time I did a show, it was probably around Halloween. And that's when the crazy work schedule got real crazy. We were doing split shifts or things. Maybe not. Well, it wasn't really split shifts. It was a holiday schedule, and our numbers were low. So we had to get more bodies on the street to help out. So therefore, this had to take a back burner, and it took a little longer than I expected. You know, I thought I'd be back January 2026, and then February just came right in, and March is almost gone. And I still didn't get out of 2026. It's the first episode of 2026. Welcome to the Podumentary. Yes, I changed the name. Podumentary of Black and Blue. I am your host. I'm Coach Clay. I'm your motivational speaker, your empowerment coach, your author, and your favorite baker's favorite baker is Coach Clay, Ecclesiastic 302 coming at you. We're having a lot of fun right now because I haven't gone live in so long. I'm a little rusty, so you guys are going to have to help me out. But we got a great topic, a couple great topics. I got a bunch of videos lined up for you to share with you, to talk about and discuss. A lot of people came through for me on this episode for the show. So those of you who came through, you know who you are. You'll see your clips through the episode. I appreciate you. And some of those will be aired for the next episode. So the way things are going to be changing around to keep up with the schedule, I'm going to go live, or I'm going to do a show for once a month. All right. I'm going to try and bring a dynamic topic at least once a month for you instead of once a week like I used to. That just got to be a little too crazy and overbearing. And, work comes first. So therefore, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying bringing this information to you, but I got to do it where I still don't burn out, and I can still save myself. So therefore, make sure you guys tag, like, share, subscribe. This is the first video of the month. I don't even know what day to tell you. I don't even remember my spiel anymore. It's been that long. Did you guys miss me? I hope you did. I missed you guys. So make sure you guys tag, like, share, subscribe. We're going to be talking about a bunch of wonderful things. First and foremost, because I asked on LinkedIn what kind of topics you guys would like to talk about here on the platform, the Podumentary. And one of them was about law enforcement and physical fitness, whether it's getting onto the job, being in the academy as a rookie officer, maintaining health, the balance throughout the career, or making it to retirement and making sure that you're retiring and still able to do functional things, and you're having a good retirement life. You're able to function, you're able to enjoy the retirement. You don't want to work your entire life and get to a point where you can't enjoy your retirement. We're also going to be talking about, we got our first Nepalese police officer here on the show. And yes, I actually had the opportunity to FTO part of his training. And therefore, we're going to talk about what it's like for him to actually, why he wanted to be a police officer, why he wanted to be a police officer in a time where it's difficult to be a police officer because not everyone wants us around, honestly. And then to police your own culture, which is dynamically different from the way we do it here in the United States. And then to also be partially somewhat alienated from within the department itself. All right, we're going to talk about that. We got another Sergeant B. Safe. He's going to take us back in the day from when he was a patrolman BC and a day in the life. And it does, hopefully it has a feel-good ending message. I don't want to spoil it. Got a few clips in between, few ads, commercials. Got a charity that I hope you guys will pay full attention to and listen to. It's for a good cause. I will dig into it deeper, but it's for human trafficking, and it's specifically for human trafficking here in the United States. We'll talk about that. Make sure I don't miss anything. We got everything lined up. Man, I don't know. I don't know where to start. I'm happy to be here. I hope you guys are too. This is the podcast, the Podumentary, Black and Blue. The podcast is just for you, where we used to air once a week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to try to stick to the same Thursdays, once a month at 7 p.m. So hopefully we can get that done. You guys tag, like, share, subscribe, get that in. Let me know what you think. Let me know what things need to be changed. Let me know what topics need to be discussed. There's a lot of live topics right now, especially the one on we're going to talk about in the upcoming future. I can't wait to talk about it. Why police officers, law enforcement officers use deadly force on individuals with edge weapons like knives. Going to talk about that, the importance on that, and the importance on if you're on a traffic stop and you're instructed to get out of the car, why you have to get out of the car. And you do. All right, we're going to be talking about that. So get your questions ready. We're not going to be talking about this episode. That's up and coming. But first and foremost, when you've seen the intros, I hope you guys enjoyed them. We're going to kick off with my buddy and former guest on the show, Scott Medlin. He's going to talk about physical fitness and law enforcement, the importance of it. He's written many books. He most recently wrote a book with another former guest on the show, Ernie Stevens, on mental health. and things that you need to prepare yourself for in this career of law enforcement. But he's going to dive deep right now into why physical fitness is important in law enforcement. And we've all, before we get started, we've all seen those videos on YouTube, TikTok, and all the other platforms where you see the police officer get toasted in a foot pursuit, or you go to arrest somebody, they can't get their hands behind the suspect's back and cuff them, or they're just getting body slammed and things like that. It's important. Yes, you got to have book smarts. Yes, you got to be able to communicate, but yes, you have to be physically fit to rise to the occasion, like they always said in the academy, and not sink to your level of training. Okay, you want to train hard for the fight, because the fight's going to come one day. We all know that. All right, here's Scott Medlin. Let Scott take it away.
Hello, my name is Scott Medlin. I worked as a police officer for almost 15 years. And I want to talk to you about something that can help you feel better, look squared away, and help you in your job performance. That is fitness. Physical fitness in law enforcement must never be perceived as optional. It has to be looked at as mandatory, to which to some that's like, daunting. But the good news is the benefit far outweighs the cost. If you go with what creates short-term pleasure, such as sitting at the TV and snacking or doom scrolling your phone, yeah, that's pleasure in the short term. But long term, it causes pain. You want to put in some short-term pain and get in those reps and exercise so you can create lasting pleasure for your life and your job performance. You get my point. The good news is it doesn't take that much time. That's why I'm recording in my garage, because still to this day, even though I don't work in law enforcement, all I have to do is go to my garage and I've got my equipment, dumbbells, ab wheel, stuff like that. And the most I lift weights is a 30-minute weight session. That's it. There are schools that have self-defense for officers. The classes aren't that long. But if you really feel like you're struggling to stay consistent with fitness and you know you have to do it, then I highly encourage you to invest in a coach. It's not an expense. It is an investment. I recommend the Fit Responder program. They have helped thousands of first responders across the country optimize their fitness. And the good news is it's nothing extreme. It doesn't have to be. I, for one, used them recently because I was curious what they were all about. 16 weeks. That's all I did with it, but it set me up for success for the rest of my life when it comes to nutrition and fitness. But speaking about that, you can work out so much, but if you're not eating well, it negates the exercise you did. So here's what I did during my career. I brought my meals and snacks consistently to work. I didn't rely on me making a good decision when I was starving. I knew I would be that guy to go to the gas station or the fast food and not eat healthy. Also, I have to say, you can't put a perfect expectation on yourself. One of the best things a physical fitness trainer ever told me was progress over perfection. Stay consistent with the habits of short but efficient workouts, to which you can even go to YouTube and do guided workouts. And then consistent nutrition, eating well, these add up over time to not only help you show up for yourself and feel good, look good, helps you show up that much better for the public. And when people call 911, they need someone to respond who can handle themselves. Physical fitness can help you do that. I wish you nothing but the best, but understand that fitness is not something you should do. It is something you must do, you can do, and you will do. Stay vigilant out there. Take care of yourself and do great.
Scott Medlin is retired and has a distinguished career in law enforcement, working as a patrol officer, K-9 officer, school resource officer, and campus police officer. He also has dedicated over 20 years of service with the Marine Corps and provides help to those who serve. As a Marine Corps veteran with 2 tours and knows about the cost of ignoring your mental health. He explains, battling with workplace stress, struggling within and at home, feeling constantly overworked, experiencing compassion fatigue. Author of these 7 books, 101 stress-busting tips for first responders, 101 useful tips for rookie police officers, 101 health tips for police officers, truths beyond the police academy, mental health fight of the heroes in blue, the power in showing up, and 101 Questions to Ask Before Becoming a Law Enforcement Officer, co-authored by Ernest Stevens. Scott has also been featured in the documentary Is There Something Going On at Home?, a Jason Harney film.
And thank you, Scott, for adding that, sending that video to me. I hate when the screen does that. There we go. Perfect. Thank you, Scott, for I appreciate you sending that video to me. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day, your busy schedule, to address this problem. And we know it's a problem, and I know you know it's a problem because you talk about it and you discuss it often. And you show videos. If you haven't already, tag, like, share, and subscribe. Check him out on he's on IG, various different platforms on social media, but you can see his workouts. He does his workouts, and he truly does them in his garage and keeps them simple, where sometimes he'll actually give a talking point while he's giving a plank, doing a plank at the same time. So, I mean, he's very he's a student of the game, and he's a teacher of the game. He's a legend in the game because you saw the books he wrote. He's been in the documentary. He's about it. So thank you, Scott, for coming through and discussing on that, former guest on the show. And so we're going to transition to, again, physical fitness, and we're going to hear from the other side of the bench. Most of us don't really like to hear from attorneys. Most of us really don't like to hear from defense attorneys, and I totally understand why. And some of them are a pain in the asses, and some of them you could really not give to whatever's about, you know what I mean? But there are some that actually do mean to do a good job. And there's some that do care about law enforcement. And with that, they do care about physical fitness. They recognize the strengths and the dangers of it as well. And with that being said, I'm going to transition over here to a defense attorney here that speaks of the importance of physical fitness, why it's important again, and to drive this point home. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're sitting here with Colin Zawali, a defense attorney for Pennsylvania here, and we're talking about law enforcement and physical fitness and the standards of how they've dropped and how they need to be improved. Colin, what's your idea? What do you think of some suggestions and some solutions for physical fitness and law enforcement in today's current climate?
So obviously, as a defense attorney, I don't know what it takes in terms of the physical requirement to be an officer in terms of the test when you go through the academy. However, I've seen and interact with cops on a daily basis. Now, most of them do take physical fitness very important. A lot of them will work out before their shift or after their shift and are very keen on what they're eating in terms of what they're working out and what they're putting into their body. But one thing that I was shocked to hear is that they're not required to do any testing throughout their career. So once you pass the test, unless you get injured, you might not have to retake a test. So I think that part was interesting to know because a lot of what cops do is a lot of physical aspects, right? They're maybe hopping out of their patrol vehicle, having to run after individuals, have to pry open a car door, search warrants on residents. So it's a lot of physical aspects and physical component to being a police officer that I thought, regular testing would be needed. But I think in our area, we see a lot of cops that take physical fitness very serious, where a lot of the departments have gyms in their own station, or they go out to their own gyms and work out with their buddies, where they take working out very seriously. They might work out an hour before their shift. They might do CrossFit. A lot of them will do, CrossFit together. So I think it is taking a different turn, but it's on a good path with the younger generation where they care very much about physical fitness.
Good point. I appreciate you expressing that. So what do you think some solutions would be with current departments since physical fitness is required throughout the academy and taking the test, and once you get the job and hired and through the process, it's not per se a requirement, it's kind of a recommendation, and if you fall off that wagon, there's no real consequences except maybe life or death consequences. But if you keep up with it, of course you're healthier, you're better, and you're more physically able to do a subject or to maintain through a career if you're physically fit. What do you think some standards should be implemented and or changed throughout the course of employment post-academy?
So I think one thing that has to get worked out is the unions aspect. Like every officer is a part of a union, and the union is there to protect the officer, rightfully so, for situations that might pop up where an officer needs protected. But with that, departments are probably struggling and implementing policy that a union would like to accept, where it would require, testing throughout their career. It doesn't have to be every year, but every other year, where they might have to go through, I'm not saying run a 5-minute mile, but, make sure they're on the health track, right? Making sure what they're doing and what they're training to do doesn't get them hurt when they're out in the field, because the last thing anyone wants is an officer to get hurt while they're out on work. So I think working with the union and trying to implement policy that department can enact is the first step in trying to maintain healthy officers.
Cool, thank you. Is there anything else that you want to share with us on that topic, or anything that you may have kind of glazed over that you want to re-solidify?
I think it's just important to know that officers, what they're putting their lives on is very important. So they also got to focus on how to make sure what they're doing is done correctly, and that an important aspect is physical fitness, right? Everyone wants to be healthy. Everyone wants to live until they're 100 or even more than 100. And the first step is making sure what you put in your body is proper, and what you're doing in terms of physical fitness is done correctly. No one wants to get hurt, whether that's in the gym working out or out on the field as well.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
See, good points, good topic. See, this is what I'm talking about. See, it's coming from a retired law enforcement officer that was a K-9 officer that's done a former SRO. He's done it. We heard from Scott Medlin. Now we're hearing it from the other side of the bench, like I said, from a defense attorney, the importance on physical fitness. Again, executing all these search warrants, executing all these arrests, taking down subjects, holding perimeters. Many things come into play. Cortisol that builds up in your body. When you are physically fit or work out, it helps reduce the cortisol from the stress, because this is a high intense, high stressful job inside and out. Whether you're actually physically doing it, whether you're mentally trying to solve the problem, the hours, the time off, the time off that you get called in for, or the events that you miss, the birthdays, the weddings, everything compounds. So figure out a way to wake up. I'm the type of person, I got the alarm set at 5 and 5:30. I gotta get it out the way first thing, get it out the way, then start my day, going to work. And I'm sometimes going into work still sweating a little bit just from the workout itself. I'm not the type of person that can wait till after work, because once I'm off work, I just want to chill. I just want to relax. That's especially during football seasons, wing season. Oh my gosh, you guys got to understand. Like you gotta find out what your rhythm is my point. Find out what your rhythm and go after it like your life depends on it. You know why? Because it does. So we heard from Colin Zawali. We're going to hear from another current law enforcement officer. He's on his second department per se. He was with one agency. Now he's not a school resource officer. He's a campus officer or high school police officer. And he's also taught defensive tactics at the police academy. Ironically, he's going to be one of our guests on next month's show as well, talking about life after retirement. But let me bring him to the stage properly, because we've been trying to get him on here for a long time, and he's been ducking me. So therefore, I finally got to get him on here. Give him a round of applause. Where's the applause thing at? I'm learning how to do this thing real quick. I haven't had this set up in a while. I've noticed the wrong setup. Bear with me. I got to find it. Because we got new sounds. We got new setups. Yeah. I like that. Angel RC, talk to us about physical fitness and the changes that you've seen in requirements on former law enforcement requirements and current, and where you see that it's going.
We were taught back then are extremely different than the way we police now, or do you see it in increment of a small amount of changes?
No, it's huge difference. when I first started, it was even the police academy, and I've also taught. So I didn't mention this, but I've taught at the police academy for 5 years in defense tactics. So from the police academy, when I went through to when I started teaching, it started to change. It became a little bit more friendlier. It became a little softer. The way we did police work when I first started is a whole lot different than what it is now. So it took a big left. It's taken a big left, and I think society plays a big role in that as to, why is it happening the way it is now.
Gotcha. And what do you think? What do you think can bring things back to the way where, I won't say it used to be, but to a level where it's mutually respected amongst law enforcement and the community?
Man, I have always said there has to be a huge reset in this country. And what I mean by that we no longer have respect for not just police officers or first responders, but even for elders. And when I say we, I'm talking about the younger generation. They just have no respect for themselves, one, parents, and then if they don't have respect for those two, we're really behind the 8 ball. Right. You know what I mean? And then this is where you get that unfortunate situation where people forget that law enforcement have to go hands-on sometimes. I'm the type that I know that I couldn't make it through the police academy now because of who I am.
Right, yeah.
I'm the type of person, the vibe you give me, you're gonna get it right back. I am that guy that will be in the 6 o'clock news. So, and I hate to say that, but it's true. This is what I feel the generation's missing nowadays. They're missing that discipline. They're missing all that. So it's a huge difference. It's not what it is, and I personally believe there have to be a huge reset in this country when it comes to respect for one another.
Right, I agree.
And respect goes a long way. And the huge reset that he's referring to is he's seen, and we've all seen it, the decline and the standards for the police academy for law enforcement. Just today, I heard that the United States Army is relinquishing their requirements on, I believe, marijuana usage and enlistment. So therefore, you could have before you couldn't have marijuana in your system at all. When I was enlisted, when I was in the Army, Army leads the way, and I think what was the age? 35, 38, maybe, I forget. At the time where it was a cutoff point, and I think it was just raised to 42. So therefore, they're saying that they're needing bodies, they're needing people, just like any other industry does. But dropping the standards for that is going to be detrimental. And more, just because you're filling it with bodies doesn't mean you're going to get the qualified people that you need to do the perform. That's another high stress but very fun occupation. I was in the Army as well, like I said. Then you see the standards drop for law enforcement as a first responder. Then you're getting in unqualified people that are making the headlines because they're not being able to articulate themselves properly. They're getting emotional during an argument or a struggle, or they're not able to subdue a subject, or they're getting injured while on the job just from basic requirements on things to do, maybe having or the wrong person gets injured. Let's say you have to actually take somebody out of a car in a vehicle that was in a motor vehicle accident, a reportable one, and they need to be extricated, and you're the only one, you're the first one there. You got to get them out before fumes start taking over, fire starts taking over, or take someone out of a burning house. I've done that before in the course of my career as well. That takes a lot out of you, and especially when you're not ready for the smoke, the fumes, the excitement, the deer in the headlights, not the tunnel vision is what I'm thinking. The tunnel vision point of view that you're going to have, that's a lot to be thrown at you at the last minute and have to perform. So the higher you perform, the better standard you will be, the better standard our agencies will be, the better standards that we will be as first responders. All right. So this next clip coming up, I got to go throw this one in here very late. It does pertain. Okay, so you get on the job, you see citizens, you see accidents happen. This is very recent here in the central Pennsylvania area. The chief of the police here was actually a good friend of mine and was actually one of my platoon sergeants a long time ago. He's moved on to other things, and you can see his passion and frustration coming through because, therefore, let's say you're eating well, you're sleeping well, you're physically fit, you're performing your duties well, and then you still have an uptick with community and society, and you just have problem after problem after problem. You sense the frustration that senior law enforcement officers are facing, newer law enforcement officers are facing, because they're not getting the mentorship and the guidance from the senior guys. The senior guys are actually, it's on overload. You're constantly doing something, constantly, to the point where once you got your numbers and you can go, you see them split, and they split quick. So shout out to this individual here. This speech says a lot. It goes hand in hand with law enforcement. It goes hand in hand with physical fitness, and it goes hand in hand with community service. Let's see what he's got to say here. He's going to introduce, or actually they're going to introduce him, so I'm not going to say a word.
Steelton Police Chief Shockey Lacey stares.
This happens even with the officers on scene. Why are we allowing an opportunity for foolishness to take place? Ain't nothing good going on after midnight.
Exactly. And he's one, if you know him, he's going to speak his mind. He's going to do it efficiently and come through with passion. But, when you get to that certain level in law enforcement, and then you get frustrated because you're trying to protect the community, but then the community is doing adverse things to force your hand and making you have to adjust in different ways. So shout out to him. Shout out to everyone involved. Shout out to law enforcement right there. That's my spiel. Try to get different variety on different angles on physical fitness and law enforcement. I got some other people that are going to be coming through in months coming. So we're going to learn different sides of defensive tactics, things like that, ways to keep yourself physically fit through law enforcement. So with that portion of the segment right there, I appreciate you guys. And hang on, the show's not over. We still got a whole bunch of information coming up. We still have Tamang coming through on what he's got to say, and we still starting to be safe. He hasn't made his debut for 2026, but he will. He had to show you what it's like. Stand by. All that's coming. All right, so now we come to the portion of the show where we're going to get into the topic of Officer Tamang Pima Tamang. I don't know why I keep doing that. Because I see his name tag actually on his shirt. Actually, I can visualize it when I say that, and I know him as the last name first, and in most first responder communities. So I apologize to keep doing that. But we're going to bring him to the stage here. I'm glad I can get him exclusively. He actually asked me to come on the show a while ago, and this is before when I was still doing them weekly. And he's seen a few episodes. He supports. I appreciate that. And he's asked a lot of questions on different similarities of cultures and differences of cultures. And riding with him, FTOing him, he's a tremendous officer. Very respectful, very knowledgeable. And then he would take me into the communities, the Nepali shops, the homes, and he would actually educate me on the proper way to make an entrance, so I wouldn't be offensive, or I could actually show that I know and appreciate a little bit of the culture, so therefore I'd be more receptive. So shout out to him on that. Of course, he was born and grew up in Nepal until he was at the age of 14, where he came over here into the United States. He can speak 4 languages, ladies and gentlemen. That's a unique feat, because I think English was the 4th language that he learned. So therefore, and he speaks it very well, where you can understand him on the county radio, and that's a big deal. He was inspired by a police officer when he was living in the Philadelphia area, and he decided to get dive in head first, and he's starting the new trend on being law enforcement here. He's worked patrol, he's worked casework, and he gets his hands dirty a lot, just for the simple fact is he can be there to help translate. He can translate from Nepali to English to Nepali, and explain the law from culture to culture. So therefore, it bridges a lot of the gaps. It breaks down a lot of the stigma, and he's a pleasure to have on call. So therefore, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to bring him to the stage. Here he is, Pima Tamang. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode. Right now, I have Pima Tamang. Pima, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please? I appreciate you making yourself available and coming on the show.
First of all, I want to thank you for letting me come into your show. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
My name is Pima Tamang. I've been a police officer for 4 years in Dauphin County. I came from Nepal. I came to this country in age of 14. And age of 14, since I've been here in the United States for, I would say, 14 years, I became a police officer in 2023, working at Dauphin County.
Gotcha. And so what made you actually want to get into law enforcement and become a police officer? That's not really a thing people would like to do in this day and age too much anymore.
Yeah, definitely. So when I was in high school, I was studying in a South Philly. In a high school, there was a police officer. I'm not quite sure his name, but he goes by Officer Ross. I always look after him. If I had any problem in school, I tried to talk to him, and he was a cool dude, and I always loved cop. So as I talked to him more about the law enforcement profession, he kind of pointed to me like, hey, if you are interested, there is a program in Philadelphia. It's called Philadelphia Police Department Explore Program, where any young male or women can join it to explore if they are interested or not. So I did that, and I loved it.
Oh, okay. And so that experience kind of just shaped you for the future, for your future employment and things that you're doing now.
Yes, sir, it did.
So let's jump right into it. So can you tell us a little bit about some of your experiences in Nepal and how they may be similar and or different to experiences that you're having now here in the United States?
So it's a significant difference as far as the policing in the United States and compared to back home in Nepal. So I came in at the age of 14. One of the key differences I have seen in the United States, what I actually do policing is like for the DUIs stuff and accident. We don't have that much domestic in Nepal. I don't think I remember anywhere like there was a domestic and police ever show up. Over here, we document everything, and there's like a strict rule on it that we need to follow. And back home, there's nothing like that.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's interesting. And so therefore, if you experience that, you remember that going back in Nepal, and now you're enforcing it here. Do you think it alienates you from the Nepali community, or do they look at you funny, or do the Nepali community look at you as inspiration and cheer you on?
So I would say I'll get both of those. There is a time they kind of be proud of that. One of the members from their own community is a police officer who's trying to help them out, and there is an incident where I feel they're kind of like, I can see they're kind of trying to distance themselves. I would particularly say I made a traffic stop while I was working, and it was for the stop sign violation. I had no idea who was in the car, and it turned out there was two gentlemen from Bhutanese Nepali community, and the first thing that came out of their mouth is like, "Oh, you're a cop now. You're kind of targeting your own community instead of helping us." At the time, I kind of thought about it. I'm like, okay. And there is an incident where I can see they're kind of trying to distance themselves from me, not talking to them, not engaging like used to, like before I was a cop. And again, there is a time when I go to call, and I will go like an older gentleman from our community, and they're proud, they're happy to see one of their own member being a police officer, where I can help them with the services that's available, including translating what they need.
Gotcha. And so since you get both sides of the coin, how much of a difference do you believe that you make with the Nepali community or the community in general, since it's now very diverse?
So I would say I feel like I did make a difference, because there has been an incident where, like I say, respond to a call where there is a family member who does not speak any English. And when I get there, I can obtain more information what's going on, and I can help them out any way possible to, how to get either services or translated what's going on it. So I do believe I'm helping them out.
Gotcha. And what do you think for the community? Is there a more trust when they see you walking up, or do you think it's a lack of trust? And if there is a lack of trust, how do you think that could be restored?
So I think, as for the general, if I'm talking about the community, there is a distant of lack of trust. I can see they're kind of reluctant to police, especially if they say they try to avoid it. What I try to do is try to engage with them on a daily basis, is just saying, hey, how are you? What's going on? If there is anything they need, and try to talk to them out to kind of build that trust, going back and forth about it. But I do believe there is a kind of distant, lack of trust between community.
Gotcha. And when that lack of trust is there, and it makes your job difficult, like you said on the one traffic stop where you saw the kids, they're trying to distance themselves from you, didn't want to talk to you, or kind of gave you a rude remark saying, oh, you're policing your own and you're just trying to jam up your own people. How does that make you feel as an individual when you're actually trying to do a good thing and help, and you're actually trying to help people?
Sometimes I do feel isolated from my own community. It's like my sole purpose of joining the force is a department to help out in any way possible, try to communicate, try to build that trust between law enforcement and our community. When I came to United States, we didn't have any police officer in the state of Pennsylvania that's from our community, and I can see that there's a lack of trust, a lack of language barrier on it. And what I tried to do was step up and try to connect. I tried to connect between community and law enforcement, but seeing they're kind of distancing themselves, it does. I do feel some type of way about it.
Yeah. And so dealing with that, being isolated and alienated from time to time through the community, do you often feel that way within the department as well, having not anyone that actually has your cultural background that you can kind of unload on or talk to, or feel that you can kind of decompress with?
I do. So the department, obviously, I work with, I'm the only one who's from our Nepalese community.
Right.
So we'll have some of like a get together, and when we go there is a cultural difference. Obviously, I grew up in totally different culture. There is things I never done it when I was growing up over here. So when we try to talk about it, I have that disconnect where I cannot relate. And there's a time I'm just standing in the corner, just watching it and enjoying it. So I do feel in time to time there is, kind of like myself being isolated a little bit.
Understandable. And I'm sorry for that, for those times. Sometimes it's the nature of the job. It's not always fair, but it does happen. But it's necessary to have you, and it's a good thing. Speaking from my own experiences, I know we worked on a couple cases together, and just by having you there to translate is wonderful. Just having you there, even if dealing with someone, a Nepali who does speak English or a little bit of English, just seeing you there, I know it has to be a good feeling for them, instead of seeing someone like me trying to explain what the law is. Having you there to back it up and have them understand it as well is a great feeling, and it's necessary, especially when we have the common goal where we're just trying to help people.
Definitely. Yep. Yeah. I did feel that from our community. There is a time like when I talk to them compared to any other officer talking to, they feel more relaxed. They're sometimes more forthcoming about the incident, what has occurred.
Yeah. More recently, the one we worked on before, you got deeper into the conversation, and I appreciate it. You helped get a good outcome for that. So yeah, you're absolutely right. So what would you say to those who are in the community who are not law enforcement friendly or trying to bridge the gap to show actual that you're a real person, that you have real feelings, that you're here to help, and you're not here trying to jam people up, but you're actually trying to do a good thing. What would you say to individuals like that?
First of all, from especially with the Nepalese community in Dauphin County, law enforcement is typically they are not in law enforcement as a job. They try to figure it out as like, okay, we don't want to do a law enforcement on it, and they try to distance it. And I can understand that come from the back home Nepal, the traumas that deal with in law enforcement over there. That's a totally different story for them. So that kind of like a trauma and kind of distance from the law enforcement carry over when they came to United States, and they just view law enforcement same as what they view in back home where they were from. So I'll try to say, hey, we're human. My goal, I'm a public servant. That means I serve you guys, your needs, whatever. That's what I will say.
Gotcha. So you're kind of showing what are some of the misconceptions. So we may not know that, especially me not having knowing too much of the Nepali background. What kind of views, I guess I'm asking, does the average Nepali person look at police officers who they may have interactions with? I think that's what I'm really asking.
I think they will look at it as like authoritative, more like, hey, assertive, you need to be there. And they will fear that, to be honest with you. They will fear it. So they will technically fear it, saying, okay, all right, he's saying something that I need to do it, right? But if I'm walking in and I'm talking to him, they're more forthcoming about, just because of, okay, he's also from our community, I can relax more. I can talk to him, provided about the incident, what's going on.
Gotcha. And so those are some cultural differences and misconceptions that we have, but what are some cultural differences that from when you were younger till now that you had to learn and had to readjust and look at it from a different point of view? Does that make better sense? Okay.
Yeah, successful on this job, or
being successful as a police officer and being successful here in the United States. That's totally different from, or possibly totally different than how you were brought up. If that's a
So I would say, so when I came to United States, first of all, it was a very shock to me. I was very young on it. The culture I grew up, and here is totally different. Obviously, here's you have opportunity. If you want to work hard, there is opportunity for you on it. Right. So I learned that. You need to be a very hard worker. You need to be patient. You have to be very patient about and consistent on it, whatever you do on it. You have to show up. There is a time you might not like it, but you need to show up on it. And other cultural stuff, I think I found it very differences in the United States was, for instance, if I able to talk about job is domestic, like I explained. Back home, I remember when I was young, is like domestic was everywhere in where I live, but the cops respond was none. Unless there was somebody seriously being hurt, they will not respond. DUIs, I'm surprised that we arrest people in the United States. I was surprised by that. And back there, if you caught drinking and driving, you pay a fine, kind of like a fees to a police officer, and you get to go home on it. And accidents, one of the thing is like you need to have so if there is an accident, police need to be involved here. And back there, like if there is an accident, the driver will talk to each other. They don't have an insurance, anything like that. They will say, okay, I'll pay for it, or either way, and that's about it. So that was the biggest shock for me, as far as the policing goes.
And that's good to know. And thank you for explaining that. So then, therefore, if some of the arrests that we've gotten for DUIs or domestics, and the perpetrator is surprised that they're getting handcuffed or going in cut, and it's a culture side, like what's going on, and that may be some of the reason why they fight back or have questions or not know what's going on. And then especially with the language barrier, that makes it even more difficult to try and explain.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with a major one, I would say is domestic again. We go to domestic, and especially with the Indians, Nepali, and Buddhist community, they'll look at it when the cop came in and arrested, like, why are you arresting me? That's my wife. We're husband and wife. We're allowed to fight. I totally get. Any other person will be like, what are you talking about? Like, it's a domestic. You can't, be fighting on it. But what from the cultural perspective, when we look at it, it's like it's an issue between husband and wife. They need to sort it out. That's the chain of thought they have from back in Nepal, and they're carrying over same thought over here in the United States, which obviously we have one of the strict domestic laws in the United States.
Mm-hmm. That makes. All right, and there we have. That's not the full interview. That's just we're taking a pause for the calls because there's a lot of good information. A lot of good information he shared, and more information. He's going to finish the rest of the story and finish the rest of the interview. We got to pause for the calls because R.C. Hughes, state trooper, who's a former guest on the show as well. He's been on the show, like I said. He came through and he gave his 2 cents as well, and the 2 cents added up to a whole bunch of dollars. For real, on this same topic right here. So we're going to have a brief intermission with what RC has to say, and then we're going to follow up with something after that. I don't want to give it all away, but here's RC following up basically on what Pima Tamang is talking about in alienation. So let's see what he has to say.
Nobody tells new police officers is that you can feel like an outsider on the job and in your own home. When you come into a department, especially one that doesn't look like you, you're stepping into a culture built on trust, and nobody trusts you yet. They don't know how you perform under pressure. They don't know how you think. They don't know who you are as a person. And at the same time, your personal life changes too. You start saying no to certain people, certain situations, and certain decisions because you know one mistake can cost you your career. So now you're caught in between two worlds. This is where the ear model shows up. Ego says, I don't want to look weak. Arrogance says, don't listen to anybody. And rage shows up when you start rejecting correction from the very people who are trying to help you grow. I have lived it. You start questioning who you are as a person. You try to fit in one way and swing the complete opposite way just to prove something to yourself or to others. And now you're not policing. You're performing. If you don't know who you are before this job will define it for you. And when that happens, you don't just lose yourself. You lose your effectiveness as an officer. We don't talk about this enough, but we need to, because understanding this is how we build better officers and stronger communities.
Absolutely, man. That was powerful. Thank you, RC, for coming through on that. I appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. He's doing a lot there on IG and TikTok. He's got videos coming out daily, weekly on LinkedIn as well. So make sure you guys follow him. This is good information. And I like I said, for the podcast commentary, I'm getting a lot of people to come through and share their knowledge. And we're going to get right back to the interview here in just a moment. But I also said I wanted to share one thing. Let me get this banner up here quick. I used to work with a former coworker of mine and good friend of mine. We've been friends since I started with the department that I'm still at. That's how we met. We were on the same platoon together. It was a lot of fun. We got to hang out together. We got to work out together. Earlier parts of our career, we went to our department and worked out on our days off. It was a lot of fun. He was a good partner to have as a workout partner. But he's moved on militarily wise, and he's actually got his own t-shirt company. I got one of them right here. Is it on there? Yep, right there. I got another t-shirt that I don't have in the frame. It's Own Your Own Way Tribe. And they got something special going on. Got a hoodie right here. Yeah, you see the hoodie. Yeah. But he's got a special charity. This is the charity I was talking about that's going on. So I'm not gonna be doing it any benefit by me trying to explain it here. So here I'm gonna let them explain it. Here we go.
Everybody, Nate Lewis here. I'm the founder and CEO of The Innocent. And I just want to say thank you to Own Your Way Tribe. We appreciate the fundraiser that you just launched, this new t-shirt that's supporting us so we can support law enforcement here in the United States to protect children from child sex crimes. You see, The Innocent was founded here in the United States to protect the children of the United States. Every single dollar funded by the people stays right here in our borders. And what we're doing is we're going into communities and training law enforcement. Our team of instructors are all active duty law enforcement. They have years of experience doing these type of investigations, and they go into communities and we recruit several agencies and we train them how to proactively go out and hunt these predators and traffickers. It's much more extensive than that, but that's kind of the gist of it. We're also providing them with state-of-the-art technology and some of this equipment to make them efficient and effective. We want them to be building the strongest cases so they get the longest sentences for these predators that are being arrested. So all of our trainings are real operations, real live chats, real things going on in the classroom. So if you're a law enforcement officer, we need to get out to you. It costs you $0. That's the cool thing about what we do. It's free, absolutely free to law enforcement. So hit us up, theinnocent.org too. And again, thank you. Own Your Way Tribe. We appreciate you and the collaboration and the fundraiser. It's our job to protect them all. Hey, what's up, everybody?
There we go. And that's he said his name is Nate Lewis. There for the owner of The Innocent. That's the charity, the nonprofit that's going for human trafficking here in the United States. And my guy, I don't know, I didn't actually ask him if he wanted his name, so I'm not going to say his name here on the platform, but he's the owner of the t-shirt company, the guy who I was referring to. That wasn't him on screen, but he's a stand-up guy, doing a bunch of good things still for the community and for the nation here. So salute to him and salute to both of them for the actions that they're doing. So I appreciate you. I will make sure I put the link in the description box. So make sure you guys tag, like, share, subscribe, let people know. Make sure you get your own t-shirt. They're very comfortable t-shirts. The hoodie's very comfortable. It fits all in the right areas. You know, if you got a little bit of right there, snugs on there. So you look good when you're out in these spring days. If you need to go hit up a cigar lounge or something, you know, that's one of my favorite pastimes. But seriously, make sure you guys get your own, support it because it's going to a good cause, and that good cause is still here, right here in the United States. All right, we're gonna get back into the interview with Pima Tamang. Here's the second part of that, and don't worry, there's more there's more podcommentary coming, so we're still having a lot of fun. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I know I am. Keep the comments coming in the comment section. If you have a question, I will address it. I know this is all recorded, and you're watching the playback of it, but we will address the questions. We will see it. Keep the comments coming. I appreciate it. Here we go. Pima, let's go. Makes perfect sense. Thank you for explaining that. So therefore, if we get a lot of aggression or resistance and fighting back or anything like that, it may be mainly from a misunderstanding and from a cultural differences that actually come into play, not someone actually thinking that they need to fight back or don't like the police. They're just trying to understand, why am I being arrested? And please take your hands off me.
Correct. Yep.
Gotcha. So can you share some of the positive moments you've had while working in law enforcement so far?
Sir, definitely. I would say I respond to there was a call about an elderly female, and she could not speak any English at all, and she was having some kind of a misunderstood about her son leaving her in an apartment, and she thought her son was abandoning her. So I respond. One of my partner responded, but they could not communicate with her because of the language barrier. So I came in and I spoke to her. She was so happy seeing that one of the own community member who can actually speak Nepali and can kind of clearly communicate with her. I sat down on the floor and she was in a sofa, and we had a really good conversation about it. I explained her like, hey, your son is not abandoning you. They're actually trying to relocate or changing the apartment. And she finally understood that if I was not to be there, I think she will misunderstand, saying, hey, I'm getting abandoned, and nobody is kind of, trying to understand me, what I'm trying to say. And after having a conversation, she was very happy and glad. And she even said, I'm so proud that you're a police officer from our community. I think that moment kind of give me I would say, gratitude that I'm doing this job, and kind of I feel more satisfied with it.
Yeah. Good job. So therefore, I've seen you interact on the street, and you're very professional. You're very detailed, and you're a very wonderful officer. I'm proud to have you aboard. And through some of those
interactions, you're actually bridging the gap by you being there, by you being professional, by you explaining things. And so therefore being able to communicate is a big deal. And I understand that English is not your first language. English is maybe your second or third language, correct?
I would say fourth.
Wow. Even more difficult. So kudos to you. Good job. So please explain. No, go ahead.
It's been a journey, I would say, because learning English from the bottom of age of 14 and doing the job in the law enforcement. So it's been one of the heck of a journey, and I would not change a thing about law enforcement. I really think that law enforcement is the job I really meant to do it. I could not see myself doing any other job than law enforcement.
Gotcha. So therefore, if you're meeting another Nepali gentleman, male or female, I should say, and they want to become a police officer and they're looking up to you like a role model, what kind of information would you share with them, or what kind of suggestions would you give them?
So actually, I had that with some of the young people I interact in during my full time in my work. I interact with them, and seeing me doing the job, they are kind of inspired by it, saying, "Hey, I want to be a law enforcement." They reach out. I try to give a kind of direction, saying, "Okay, you need to be, 21-year-old. You need to do this, to get into law enforcement on it." I try to give advice, train every day on it. Be open-minded, be compassionate, treat everybody with respect, right? Be compassionate on it, and I would say, I think that would be it. I would say on it.
Gotcha. And so therefore, do you get positive feedback when you give that information, or is it more general kind of, are they happy that you share that information, or are they upset?
Oh, they're very, very happy with that information. No, definitely. I had, there is a time I go back and forth, even I'm off duty. I'll provide my phone number on it, and they will text me or call me saying, hey, brother, I'm trying to get into law enforcement on it, and I'm in this process, and what do I need to do? I try to give them advice like, hey, you need to do this, make sure you're on the point, so you can, pass all the tests that needs to be done in order to get into a police academy.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Well, thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. And you give a lot of good advice. What kind of advice would you give to any law enforcement officer that's working in today's climate? The public's not always easy to deal with. Then sometimes you got interdepartmental things going on within the platoons, within the ranks, within the department itself. What kind of advice would you give any police officer so they can still stay the course and still be successful?
I would say be respectful. Number one, be compassionate. I know in this line of job, there is a time we lose touch of compassionate. Because the amount of the things we see in the street, obviously, I would say treat everybody with the respect on it, because we don't know what kind of situation they're going through it at the moment. So that's, I would say, for the law enforcement.
Gotcha. And the caveat, the piggyback on that question, where do you see law enforcement going in the next 3 to 5, 10 years maybe, and where do you foresee it? Do you think it's going to get more diverse like the community, or do you think it's going to pull back a little bit?
I believe it's going to be a more diversity in the future, definitely. Like I said, in our department, I'm the only one in Nepal. We have some Hispanic officer on it, and I think it's going to change as more young people see a diverse police officer. The department, they kind of want to join it, even including me. I became a first police officer in the state of Pennsylvania from our community to join, and we have like 30 to 40,000 resident citizens in Dauphin County alone. And I have already seen the rise from our community member applying to be a police officer. So I definitely think it's going to get more diverse within the department.
That's good. I'm glad you can foresee that. That's really good. That's good information to have. What do you think law enforcement, excuse me, what do you think law enforcement should do as a whole with, retention and recruitment as well? Because what you're out there doing, you're recruiting, whether you know it or not,
to younger students, younger people, Nepali, black, white, whoever sees you in the uniform, they're seeing good things and positive things. But what more things do you think we can do as law enforcement to keep the old guys still working and keep the younger guy, or have more applicants want to come in and be police officers?
I will definitely say I think we need to focus on more on retention the officer to keep them there while they're doing that job. So I would say we need to listen to the officer who's on the street, what their concern is, what they're saying on it, and I think admin need to kind of hear, try to help them or facilitate anything, like, for example, equipment, training that need to be done. I would say that, I believe they need to more focus on retention.
Gotcha. Because that's been a big buzz concept for probably since 2019 or more, where the recruitment pool has gone down, and then you see a lot of mass retirings for a lot of departments all throughout the state. It seems like law enforcement is a job that is a thing in the past. And there's a lot of changes that have come, and there's a lot more changes that are going to be coming down because of it. Some good, some bad. Whenever things change, there's going to be a reason for that change, and there's going to be problems from it, and there's going to be solutions from it as well. So hopefully we'll find more solutions than we do problems.
Definitely.
Yeah. So is there anything that you want to share with us? What are some dreams and goals that you have within law enforcement, or some good, kind words that you want to say to anyone in the public, no matter what their background is?
So as far as my dream goes, it's my 4th year in our department. Obviously, my goal is to retire on it. I'm thinking about maybe doing some detective work in the future. Not right now, with more time on. I want to get more time on the street. That way, I can transition or go to a detective work on it. For the public, I would say, hey, we're also human. We have feelings. There's a days we feel tired. There's a day we feel frustrated. You can always come to us and talk to us. We're here to help you. We're here to serve you. So that's what I will say to the public.
There we go. Well, Pima, I appreciate you making yourself available. This is a great interview. I didn't want to take up too much of your time, but I did want to give you a chance to express yourself and get your thoughts and feelings out there. Is there something else that I may have forgot to ask that you wanted to touch on, or is there anything else that you want us to know about you? Right now, the floor is yours. Please tell us and explain.
So, like I say, I came in this United States as a 14-year-old age. I had an opportunity to go into law enforcement, and which I'm very thankful. I don't want to say my department name on it, but I do want to appreciate and thank my chief and my admin on it. They had given me a good opportunity where I could be a police officer, where I can serve the community. So I want to say thank you to them, and I think that's about it.
There we go. That's good. I'm pretty sure when they watch it, they'll be appreciative of hearing you say that as well. So I'll say you're welcome on their behalf. I don't think that's robbery. I think for those who didn't know, I got to be one of Pima's FTOs, and you were phenomenal, especially when we got to ride together at night. And I, as grumpy or as unhappy as I may have been, I hope I didn't wear off any of the negative stuff onto you. But we had good times. You had great questions. You interviewed very well on scene. You showed up with command presence, and then you asked the right kind of questions. You said, "Hey, I know we're on a traffic stop for this, but how come we have to do X, Y, and Z?" And you asked all the right questions. So I appreciate you being a breath of fresh air for me, because you came in and willing to learn. You came in wanting to do the job, and you're successful, and you're doing the job very well. So kudos to you again, and keep being successful. And I know that you're going to pass that on to other officers in the future, and you're going to show them what a dynamic police officer that you already are.
I really appreciate that for a kind word, definitely. And I want to thank you too. You're the one of the my FTO who provide me with the knowledge and kind of, all the I would say knowledge and the way you do certain thing on it. So I get that information from you as well. So we, in our culture, we say teacher, we call it gurus. a teacher is somebody we always put it in the top of our head, because of them we were able to learn and do certain things. So I really want to appreciate it and thank you too.
Absolutely, absolutely, and not to belabor. When we were riding together, and if we were in shadow mode, you would bring me into Nepali businesses as well, and introduce me to the store owners, the public that was there, and the interactions were dynamically wonderful because it got to show me that there's not one way to do a foot patrol. There's not one way to go to a call. The proper way to address namaste and being polite, as opposed to just walking in and doing things that could potentially be offensive and me not even know it because I didn't know some of the cultural differences. So you woke my eyes up and you made an old guy like me actually take in a new account of wonderful things with another culture that's embedded right here in the community as well. All right. All right, perfect. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, stay tuned for the next segment and updates with Black and Blue. We're having fun with Pima here too. Thank you, Pima. Thank you for being part of the show.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. So let me get this focused on the screen here. And so I want to give a shout out to Pima. Thank you for that interview. A lot of you may not know that he actually came off of night shift the day we recorded that. He got a few hours of sleep, and we recorded that sometime in the afternoon on a weekday. And I asked him if he wanted to push it back. I asked him if he wanted to reschedule. He said, no, let's get it in. Let's do it. He was excited. He actually, again, like I said, he said he watched the show. I didn't even know he was watching the show or keeping tabs on it after I FTO'd him. And he even told me, he said, one day I want to come on the show. I'm just not ready yet. I want to get my talking points ready. And then eventually he came to my office. He said, yeah, I'm ready. Just let me know when you want. And I was like, wow, I'm impressed. Okay. So I hit him with a few dates, and this is months later. He may have told me 6 months ago or so. And then, of course, like I said in the beginning of the broadcast, is that he kind of took a hiatus due to work and things. And then I reapproached him. I was like, you know what? He should be the one to kick off this year. And I asked him, and he said, absolutely. And our schedules didn't line up because, of course, he's still working patrol. So he's days, nights. But he actually got up and got up and did the interview and did a tremendous interview. Again, he's a mentor out there for other young individuals, whether they're Nepalese or not. They see him in uniform. They're asking him questions. They're asking him the right questions. And he's being an influence to the up and coming generation on seeing a more diverse and more multicultural department. And he's helped bridging the gap that way. The story that he told of the elderly woman who felt like she was being abandoned, that's something that would have went over my head if I was on the call all there by myself. And I'm speaking broken English to having the conversation and, treating it such surface level, the best of my ability. He was able to go to the ground roots, to dig a little deeper and actually have the conversation and explain it to the point where the elderly woman understood it and then felt better and then appreciated him for being a police officer in the community. And he got his shout outs that way. So shout out to him. Many of you in this area may have seen him on other social media platforms while working. And those platforms were making fun, poking fun of him. And that's very disheartening because not knowing who he is, how hard he worked, how much he wanted to get to the position that he's at right now is a shame. And so that's why I kind of wanted to give him a platform so he could say his piece there as well. So he can kind of get a little get back, not in a bad way, but in a good way, in a positive way, just explaining who he is, why he wants to be there, good and bad about things in certain situations. He accepts the situations for what they are, and he keeps moving forward, always forward, the old military phrase. He keeps moving forward. He keeps moving the needle forward 1 inch at a time, 1 yard at a time, and I appreciate that. So therefore, I reached out to the Eagle of Justice, former guest on the show, Jeff Dawkins out there in Arizona. And when I asked him to do a segment to follow up this, and he didn't even see the video. No one has seen any of these videos. They've actually just come to some conglomerate. It's a hodgepodge. It's a collage, whatever word you want to use for it, of the videos, and it's all flowing together, and it's making it make sense, and I'm loving this. I'm loving the energy here. I hope you guys are too. So therefore, Jeff came through, and he said a few words to Pima, to myself, and to the audience here about what we just spoke about. So I'm not gonna take away from him anymore. Jeff, go ahead and share with us what you put on video. I appreciate it. Here we go.
Greetings from Arizona. When Clee asked me to do a quick video as an encouragement, I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you very much, because I understand exactly what he was talking about. The problem people run into in law enforcement that I've seen after almost 26 years of work in investigations, field training, community response, special units, been a supervisor for 13 years. The main problem is this, is that people get too caught up in building their own kingdoms that they're willing to sacrifice the lives of other people for themselves. And that's 100% wrong. It's literally the cornerstone of any kind of leadership school you go to, is that we're here to serve others. And we become police officers because we want to serve other people. So here is my advice. And I would say fortunately, but yet unfortunately is the word that seems to come to mind. I know all of this stuff because I've gone through a lot of bad things. I had 31 write-ups in my career so far, 26 years, and I'm the second senior sergeant in the entire police department. So here's what I'll say to you about this, is that there comes a time when you have to understand that your job is a job. I'd love to believe, and Clee will tell you the same thing, that this thin blue line family, when I got out of the academy, I couldn't believe I was part of a family. And that's what's touted all across policing and leadership circles and public safety. We're a family, we're a family, we're a family. No, we're not. We're not a family. Families don't turn each other in on IA investigations. Families don't try to shortcut each other so they can go ahead and get whatever. Families don't do the things that we see are done on a daily basis in law enforcement. And so when you think about that analogy of family, that's not real. And the problem is that when you believe you're part of a family, then you have expectations that when the department doesn't meet those expectations, you feel literally and personally betrayed, when it's just not true. The only issue you need to remember is that the police department has its own culture, its own identity, and its own agency purpose. So the contract we make as police officers, and trust me, I love it. I've been teaching the police academy for 10 years. I created nobility training. I do all kinds of different things, and I love being a police officer. But when I'm done with my 40 hours now, I don't work any of overtime. I don't do any of that stuff. I leave all my police gear at work. I don't bring anything else home except for my off-duty gun. Make sure you understand the contract that you signed up for was that you would do a good job and you'd help people, and they would pay you. That's it. Everything else is extra. Everything. So as you're struggling to try to make inroads and trying to get into a culture that you see and that you maybe romanticize as something different, just remember that your identity inside is based on your character. And for me, it's in my foundation of faith. Like, I am 100% sold out as a disciple of Jesus Christ. He's my Lord and Savior, quite literally. And I'm not even a pro athlete after winning a game. I just still believe that. And I was saved back in 2005, and it changed everything. So everything I do now is because I'm just serving people and loving the Lord. I would really encourage you, if you ever want to reach out, Clee can give you my phone number. Give me a holler. We can chat more. As you see people, I always love the thing too, when you're trying to find identity, people always talk about my friends at work. Look, man, you can have people you're friendly with at work, but friends are people that I would talk to outside of work. Friends are people that the relationship is not just built on alcohol at bars or parties on the weekends. Friends are people that if you're in trouble at 2 a.m., you can pick up the phone and they'll answer. So be real clear about who you are, be clear about whose you are. And lastly, I'll leave you with this. I'm 51 years old. Like I said, I've been in law enforcement 26 years. I've been married 30. It didn't occur to me until I was 40 years old to write a mission statement for my life. Take a look at the things that you find most important and write a paragraph or two, print it and look at it every single day. Have your mission statement be proactive down the road, because so often in life, everything we do in policing is reactive. Just know that there are other people out there that got your back and have been through stuff. And if you need something, reach out to the Eagle of Justice.
EOJ, the Eagle of Justice, former guest on the show. He actually had a spot on the original Sergeant Be Safe cartoon as the Eagle of Justice. He would give wise knowledge, but that was wise knowledge right there in itself. Shout out to you, Jeff. You're always available on social media, mainly LinkedIn, to actually lend a good word, to share some advice, to connect people. Always giving good advice, and he was willing to be ready to be the Eagle of Justice. I still want him on the show, Sergeant Be Safe cartoon. I just don't have a talking eagle. I don't have the app that can do that. So therefore, the one that was there was a still frame of a picture, and it would talk. And I mean, it was good for what it was, but it just didn't work out. But I appreciate you again, Jeff, for coming through and speaking on that. And I'm pretty sure Pima does as well. And that information will get passed along and shared. All right. And so therefore, that last but definitely not least, we have another attorney. It's not a former district attorney and now a real estate attorney that's actually chiming in on understanding living in the community, working in the community, dealing with people, and understanding alienation from within the department, why the cultural differences are good, where the things that she sees coming down the pipeline, and her experience and her advice on the situation. So I'm going to let her explain it. Attorney Paige Perucci, right here. Here we go. With him being with him being alienated from the department and pleasing his own community, what kind of problems do you foresee?
I think, unfortunately, minorities go into law enforcement and it's an uphill battle, because obviously law enforcement has sometimes a bad view with the community, and you have to earn their trust, whether, whatever race or ethnicity you are, it doesn't matter. But I think with minorities especially, there's this feeling of, am I, betraying my community, or they think you're betraying them. But I think that is the best case scenario, is policing your community and feeling that there is a trust. They used to say back in the day, a lot of police officers lived in the community that they were policing, right? And I think that was important, and it would be nice if we still had some sort of system like that, because I think there's just a trust there. People rely on you, and I think, unfortunately, in today's society, I think people are losing that trust with law enforcement. But I think for him, as much as, I can't speak culturally to the Nepalese people, but I think that there probably is some sort of comfort in knowing that he's Nepali, and he understands maybe what they do culturally, their holidays, certain things that another police officer would not know. So I think as much as there's challenges, there's also probably a lot of benefits to it.
Perfect. And if you could talk to him directly, and let's just say that he's feeling alienation within the department, what would you say to him directly, just from off the top of your head?
I mean, keep doing what you're doing. I think being one of the first Nepali police officers in your department is amazing. And if you can be an example and a mentor to others, that's awesome. And also, encouraging others to get into law enforcement, in the Nepalese culture. So that would be amazing, and I think you're doing a good job.
Perfect. I couldn't have said it better. Thank you very much. Very well said. Thank you, Paige, for coming on and sharing the 2 cents. Thank you. Shout out Pima. See, therefore, you got follow-up comments based on what you said. This is, again, Pima's idea to come on the show and express himself, and I'm glad he did. So make sure you explain in the comment section how he's gonna, you can foresee that he's gonna do a good job. He's gonna actually be the foundation of what's to come, and good work is upon him, and good things are gonna come through him and because of him. And he's gonna be the mentor and the pariah out there with departments, and it's gonna spread like wildfire, just on the simple fact that he's hardworking and he's very educated and very communicative, to where he can explain things across different cultures, and that's a big deal. So shout out to you, Pima. I appreciate it. All right, there we have it. That was the part of the documentary. We're still moving on strong. Let me give you an update on. So therefore, the time frame that I was off, not and when I mean off, I mean not doing the podcast itself. I was able to. Let me see if I can get this picture up here. Join the FOP. Yep, I'm on the board for the local FOP. You see me there. That was the event that took place right after the new year. Then while working cases, the Sarge was able to celebrate this by making this AI picture of the coldest code switching detective that's out here. I got this on March 4th. And if you guys didn't already know, March 4th is the title of my first book that I believe is now 8 years old. Came out March 4th, 2018. And it's dynamic. It's the only day of the month. The only day of the year that's a marching order. You March 4th, you're always moving forward. You're doing something positive, and it's the coldest right there. So I was able to do that. You guys see the new logo in the new corner. Got that up there. You guys see, nope, I don't want to delete. There we go. Just, some of the new banners right there that started to be safe. And SWAT Officer Claymore ride motorcycles because we're having fun, serious, and entertaining here on the podcast Black and Blue, the documentary. I was able to speak to the Rotary Club on fraud awareness and scams and things like that. I wish I could have had that video recorded. That was a good talking point. But that we'll have to get another one. I think there's another speaking engagement coming down the pipeline. So we'll see if we can get that on there. What else is up here? Let me see. We got Pima's flyer, bridging cultures, a cop's journey from Nepal to the beach. Shout out to Pima. That's a dope flyer too. I'm going to say so myself. Sergeant Be Safe right there. The loss reports, a day in the life. That's coming up. A day in the life of Sergeant Be Safe. What else do we have here? Coach Clee right there with SWAT Officer Claymore and Sergeant Be Safe right there with the drone above our head. It's a good pick. Don't forget Own Your Own Way. Got the hoodie right there. We had the commercial for the charity that's going to benefit for human trafficking. What's this one right here? No, not that one. Sorry. What's this one? Oh, yeah. Lead from the front, that's a good picture. I think that's actually going to be on one of the t-shirts for Own Your Own Way if it's not already. So make sure you guys check that out. All right. Did I get everything? I think I got everything. Am I caught up? The board members and just casework in itself. Most of you guys know I'm doing juvenile crimes, and it's very daunting. It's very detailed, and you want to do a good job with that because there's young victims or victims that were young at the time and are seeking justice. So therefore, a shout out to that hard work. That takes a toll on yourself. I didn't know how much mental exhaustion comes with that, but it happens. So it's part of the nature of the beast. So somebody's got to do it. So we're going to change gears now and got a commercial cartoon or video here that shows. This is one someone asked me back in the day, kind of like when I worked for my first department, that my ex at the time asked, how come when I call you don't call me back, or how come when I text you don't immediately text me back? I'm like, do you understand what I do for a living? Like, I'm a first responder. So I know that you think we sit around and eat donuts and sit with our feet on the desk and are barely staying awake and drinking coffee all day, but no, I'm not calling you back because here, I'll let this explain.
You want to know why he's not texting you back right now?
Whoa, had to switch up on the flow, gotta keep them on their toes. I move quick, I make the most, why they copy what I wrote. Follow everything I post, never trip about a clone, cause they know what's a sheep to a goat. Yeah. Welcome to the main event. Applying pressure, but I promise they ain't make it then. In their head.
Did you see all that? Did you see your accidents, mishaps, domestics, 911 hangups, alarms, animal complaints, nonstop over and over and over and over again? So sometimes you're busy, sometimes you don't get to get that lunch. Sergeant Be Safe is going to explain that here in a minute. Do I have these? Let me see. I might have these backwards. I think I do. Which one? Yeah, we're going to show the cartoon. Sergeant, you guys ready for Sergeant Be Safe? Here he comes. I'm going to show the cartoon. Then we're going to round up home base, and we're going to finish this podcummentary. So make sure you guys tag, like, share. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun putting this together. It's a different kind of concept, different what I'm used to doing, but I think it's important. All right, I know that wasn't the cartoon. Here it is.
Sergeant Be Safe was a patrolman Be Safe. This was the average start of a regular patrol shift.
Every day starts the same, an alarm blaring, reminding me of the weight I carry. I roll out of bed, the weight of the world resting on my shoulders. I'm here to protect, to serve, but sometimes it feels like I'm losing myself in the grind.
Patrolman Be Safe stands up, stretching, and begins a rigorous workout routine. The room is filled with sweat and determination, but there's a palpable readiness in his eyes. He prepares a meager breakfast, the sunlight barely breaking through the clouds outside. He packs his lunch with a sigh.
Breakfast feels like just another chore. I'm reminded that I'm not just fighting crime, but also the shadows lurking in my own home.
He cleans off his car, the snow glistening but cold as he drives to work in silence. At work, he enters the locker room, changing into his uniform. He exchanges awkward glances with coworkers. Some he enjoys, others he doesn't.
Some days I feel like I wear my uniform like it's heavy. I'm losing myself and always tired and exhausted.
He heads to the briefing room, where the air is thick with tension as the team discusses the previous shift's events. He sits through a meeting filled with complaints and critiques, his blood boiling with each word.
Emails filled with mistakes, dispatch calls about forgotten codes, 911 hang-ups is never ending, and then there's always someone questioning my decisions.
He responds to traffic accidents and domestic disturbances, his face an unreadable mask of professionalism. Finally, he gets a moment to himself at lunch, only for it to be interrupted by a loud call for help. He rushes off, leaving his untouched lunch behind.
Just when I think I can breathe, something pulls me back in. It's like I'm drowning in a sea of chaos.
Rob you blind, committing retail thefts. Fortunately, he's caught by Patrolman Be Safe and his commander.
Why, thank you, officers. You both got here right on time and saved our inventory. You're the best.
I'm innocent. They arrest Rob you blind and take him outside, only to be yelled at and recorded by Debbie Demanding and Crystal Controlling.
Oh my God, don't you have anything better to do? Why are you arresting him? He didn't do anything.
As the day drags on, he meticulously checks off tasks, trying to leave no loose ends. He changes back into civilian clothes, looking weary.
Another day done, but I still feel the weight, the nagging voice of a disgruntled loved one creeping in. How much longer can I keep this up?
He takes the long way home, and then pulling into the driveway, sitting silently for what feels like an eternity.
Yeah!
Suddenly the door bursts open, and his young kids rush towards him, laughter echoing in the air. Their smiles are bright, their energy infectious.
But then, I see them, my kids. Their smiles light up the darkness I've been trudging through. I realize that life is more than the struggles I face. It's about these moments. It's an immediate decompression. Seeing my children's excitement serves as relaxing therapy, or a reward that makes the day's hardships worthwhile.
Every day may bring its challenges, but at the end of it all, I'm reminded that I'm not just Patrolman Be Safe. I'm a father, a husband, and I've got a family to protect. And that's what makes it all worthwhile.
Shout out to Sergeant Be Safe, who back when he was Patrolman Be Safe gives us a day in the life, and we all know those long hard days. Just seems like it never ends. But to come home and then experience your loved ones, especially when they're younger, to run up to the door and be excited to see it makes a whole day worth it. So that was a little intro to Sergeant Be Safe 2026. There's more adventures to come, more lessons to learn. I appreciate all of you tuning in. This is the Podcommentary Black and Blue. The podcast is just for you, where we go live monthly. And when we go live, we go live with first responders and law enforcement officers, and we talk about their trainings, their publications, their experiences, and we don't hold back. We're going to give you good information, good lessons, have good conversations for the remainder of this year. I appreciate all of you. Tag, like, share, subscribe. Keep the comments coming. Give me those likes. Likes are free. I appreciate that. You know what they say about law enforcement, and you know if you've been doing this job long enough, if you've never had to do CPR on a child, if you've never zipped up a body bag, cleared brain matter from the street, or told a mother that her child is no longer in this world, it's not an easy feeling. Some of those are the hardest decisions, the hardest things to do. So you get the bad side of the coin, but with the good as well, because yes, this is the greatest show on earth, and there's nothing better to do than to actually help people day in, day out, and to do a job that not many are willing to do and not many even can do. So if you're able to perform at this level, I salute you. I appreciate all of you. To all the first responders out there, keep doing what you're doing and keep it up. This is Coach Clee coming at you. I will see you next month. Make sure you guys tag, like, share, subscribe, stay safe. I love you all. I appreciate it.
Black and Blue. The Podcommentary we discuss physical fitness, recruitment, operational security and social pressures, public trust, and more.
Body cam activated.
Recording.
Black as you is, it's a whole lot of blue still shining through.